but nature more. With these lines from Lord Byron's poem Child Herald's Pilgrimage, I express my heartiest greetings to everyone present here to attend a 2 days international workshop on ecosystem and wildlife of Assam and begin the day with the lighting of the ceremonial lamp. So I request our Honorable Principal Sir, Dr. Kulen Chandra Das, our dignitaries, Dr. Parimal Chandra Bhattacharjee and Dr. M.K. Ranjit Singh, our Vice Principal Ma'am, Moromi Kayan, to light the lamp and begin the auspicious day. They would be assisted by the IQC coordinator and convener of the workshop, Dr. Sanchita Bora. Then I request our Vice Principal, Moromi Gayan Ma'am, to felicitate Dr. Parimal Chandra Bhattacharjee with a Karbi Poho woven by one of our students of the Ethnic Handloom and Weaving Center of our college. A memento and a book. Thank you, ma'am. Then I request our IQC coordinator and convener of the workshop, Dr. Sanchita Bora ma'am, to felicitate Dr. M.K. Ranjit Singh with a poho, again woven by one of our students from the Ethnic Handloom Weaving Center of our college. The memento of our college. And a book. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. It is indeed a watershed moment for us and the fateful realization of a distant dream that was in the works since 2021, conceived by our esteemed principal, Dr. Kulen Chandra Das. We are extremely fortunate and highly elated to have such an illustrious personality who played a pivotal and pioneering role in the Indian wildlife conservation efforts. Dr. M.K. Ranjit Singh, sir, we are extremely grateful to have you in our midst. We are also privileged to have amongst us our inaugurator, Dr. Parimal Chandra Bhattacharjee, all the panelists and distinguished resource persons. Now I request our principal, sir, to deliver his welcome address. Thank you.
Good morning to all present here. Respected Dr. M.K. Ranjit Singh, sir. Respected Parimal Bhattacharjee, sir. Respected Field Director of Kaziranga Tiger Reserve. All the DFOs of various national parks and divisions. CEO of Arenok, Dr. Bipro Kumar Talukdar. Joint Director of WTI, Dr. Rothin Burman. And other speakers of the day, invited guests, my dear colleagues, faculty members from other colleges, invited guests and nature lovers, and dear students of our college, as well as students from different colleges. At the very outset, I welcome you all to this 2 days international workshop on ecosystem and wildlife of Assam. We know the phenomena of a giant meteorite hitting the earth some 65 million years ago and wiping out the dinosaurs and over half of the planet's species. Unlike the previous mass extinctions caused by such asteroid strikes and volcanic eruptions, the Damon meteor this time is us, the Homo sapiens. Our impacts has game changed the climate, rapidly making the earth inhospitable. This massive impact of humans on the planet has placed it in the phase of the history commonly referred to as Anthropocene. Ecosystems and wildlife conservation face grave threats in today's world. In the past, the Anthropocene was reflected in the temperament of killing as fun kind of a mentality. In order to give a few examples of the intensity and ruthless killings of the wild animals of our country, we must mention the name of Maharaja Ramanu Saran Singh Dev of Sarguja in what is now North Chhattisgarh. No one in the history of the world has shot more tigers than Maharaja Ramanu Saran Singh Dev. Though he stopped recording his tiger trophies after their number reached about 1,150, it is assumed to be over 1,400. In a disappointing note, Maharaja Ramanu Pratap Singh Dev of the state of Korea has an unfortunate record of killing the last 3 young male siblings of cheetah in 1947. Similarly, Maharaja Nripendra Narayan of Coach Bihar killed, according to his own account, 365 tigers, 311 leopards, 207 rhinos, 438 buffaloes, 133 bears, 259 sambar, 311 barasingha and 48 bison. One would be tired of giving an account of such killing, which was regarded as fun by the game hunters. One would be surprised to know that wild animals were considered vermin during the British regime, and therefore reward was paid for their extermination. During a span of 9 years, stretching from 1877 to 1885, in Assam, 10 elephants was killed, 3,679 tigers, 1,984 leopard, 1,304 bears, 19 wolves, 5 hyenas, and 2,543 snakes were killed. Against that, in India, the elephant was 17,025 tigers, 38,898 leopards, 14,117 bears, 55,148 wolves, 14,542 hyenas, and 25,94,537 snakes were killed in India. It was the harsh reality of Indian forests and imperiled wild animals of the country, poaching ruthlessly exterminated wild animals, habitat destruction due to increasing deforestation, which is not only quite common but in fact increasing overwhelmingly over the years, and fragmentation is wiping out the Indian wild animals. Urbanization and agriculture poses a significant risk, forcing many species to the brink of extinction. Climate change disrupts ecosystems, altering migration pattern and endangering vulnerable species. Pollution, including plastic waste and chemical runoffs, harms both terrestrial and aquatic life. Overexploitation through hunting and illegal wildlife trade threatens countless animals. To combat these threats, proactive conservation efforts, stringent regulations, sustainable practices, and public awareness are vital to safeguarding Earth's precious ecosystems and diverse wildlife for future generations. The tenure of the late Prime Minister Mrs. Indira Gandhi was regarded as the golden era of the history of forest and environment conservation in India. She was extremely passionate to the cause of forest and wildlife conservation. This can be gauged from the following words which she wrote on 30th May 1972 to his friend Sam Manekshaw, the war hero of 1971. I quote, all over the world there is a wave of concern for the conservation of the environment. We in India are no less involved in this movement. Since there has been a serious depletion of our wildlife and forest wealth, we must now spare no effort to save what remains of our wildlife. Reports of the indiscriminate killing of animals in different parts of the country, notably the Himalayas, by army personnel are disturbing. In order to safeguard the remaining forest and wildlife and wild animals, Mrs. Gandhi took bold initiatives and asked Dr. M.K. Ranjit Singh, who is today's keynote speaker, to draft a policy, and thus we received the most stringent act in the form of Wildlife Protection Act, although it was initially drafted as the Wildlife Conservation and Management Bill 1972. The quantum of the environmental problem that we are facing in the first decades of the 21st century is a bit different from that of the earlier years. When we have been noticing with utter disappointment is that for last 5 years, parts of the Western Ghats and Uttarakhand has been the worst hit primarily due to lower scale man-made alteration of the hills and the impact of climate change. Notwithstanding, the development policies have not been re-evaluated or redesigned or reframed vis-a-vis the changing climate conditions. Northeast India, and especially the state of Assam, is presently confronting unprecedented dry spell and heat waves, besides devastating floods in the summer, never to forget the plight of Haflong, Dima Hasao, a couple of years ago. Felling of innumerable trees and huge deforestation is the key to such change in weather and climate. We, the most intelligent Homo sapiens, have failed to realize the sorrows of other creatures living in this planet. In this context, I really want to know how many of us, especially our students, know that during the cutting, trees also feel sorrow and pain. Do we really care to know, for that matter, that trees have feelings and they experience pain? Do we, in our wildest dream, care to think that they communicate with other members of their species and support their young? Though majority of our population shall think for a negative answer, but ironically, the answer is a big yes. Here is a book named The Hidden Life of Trees, written by a German woodsman, Peter Ulleben, that will disarm all of us with its gentle explanations and blow us away with new insights into the world of trees. Thousands of years we have been coexisting with forests and trees, but yet to understand the complex ecosystem of it. We are yet to understand clearly various ecosystems of nature, nevertheless relentlessly trying to control them, and in the process destroying the very ethos of it. What I want to mean is that nature is really wonderful. Having said this workshop is a humble attempt on our part to generate awareness and to inculcate among our next generation the very understanding and extremely important roles of various ecosystems and wild species and their present plight and the resultant environmental crisis due to the Anthropocene. The concept of this workshop was conceived during the pandemic years. It is the benevolence and generosity of Dr. Arup Kumar Mishra, who will be giving a lecture tomorrow. He is the chairperson of Pollution Control Board of Assam, and Dr. Vibha Kumar Talukdar, who extended their helping hands in the form of financial assistance to organize this workshop. Besides his own contribution, Dr. Arup Kumar Mishra also connected me with other organizations for financial assistance. I must mention here the names of Dr. Pranabjyoti Bora of WWF, Dr. Devakumar Datta of Aranyak, and Dr. Rathin Burman of WTI for their constant and continuous encouragement for holding this workshop. And thus finally, we are here before this August gathering. I take this opportunity to heartily welcome you all to this 2 days workshop. I'm really hopeful that the students' fraternity and all the natural lovers present here would be greatly benefited by the kind of scientific deliberations, and that will happen until tomorrow evening. I would also like to shed a bit light to the workings of the workshop. There will be 5 technical sessions besides this inaugural session. We have with us the authority and author of wildlife of our country, Dr. M.K. Ranjit Singh, who will deliver his keynote speech in a while. We have Dr. Parimal Bhattacharya, who will inaugurate this function. There will be 2 special lectures tomorrow before the technical sessions begin. One will be delivered by Dr. Arup Kumar Mishra, who is the chairperson of PCBA, Pollution Control Board of Assam. He will deliver a lecture on climate change and biodiversity loss. The second lecture would be delivered by Mr. Ainov Saktionov, who is the Program Director of International Rhino Foundation, Indonesia. He will talk about conservation efforts of Sumatran and Jaivan rhinos in Indonesia. Both the days will witness deliberations by a galaxy of resource persons dexterous to their own fields. With these words, I once again heartily welcome all of you to this 2 days intense engagement. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Principal Sir, for your welcome address and highlighting on the stark reality of ecological and wildlife degradation owing to changing climatic conditions. Now, I request Field Director of Kaziranga National Park and Tiger Reserve, Dr. Sonali Ghosh ma'am. She will be gifting a coffee table book to our esteemed dignitaries. I request her to kindly come forward. She and her team had recently published a coffee table book which she would like to present. Yes, and I also request Dr. Smarjit Ojha sir to kindly assist Sonali Ghosh ma'am. A big round of applause, please. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Principal Dr. Kulendra Chandra Das, our most respected Dr. R.K. Ranjit Singh ji, Dr. Sonali Ghosh, Director, Kaziranga, and rest, all the forest officials here, and from Aranyok, Vibhav, Rothin, and Professor Vishwas, and Dr. Sharma. So I know a lot of them. And my teachers and student friends here. I will not take too much of time because we wanted to hear Professor Ranjit Singh ji and others, because I am still a learner, so I do not know much of it, to what is happening. But I know that the climate is our resource. Environment is a resource. We have to live with environment. We cannot say we go somewhere else. We have to bear with it. Now, one of the Supreme Court verdict was a statement: wildlife is the ultimate manifestation of the resilience of ecosystem. The Supreme Court one judge one mentions, one is the case. Wildlife symbolizes the functional efficiency of the entire ecosystem. So wildlife and ecosystems are very interlinked. You cannot remove wildlife from ecosystems, and ecosystem cannot be removed. There is a saying that wherever there is a tiger, there must be forest. Forest protects tiger, tiger protects forest. So these are the types of relationship in Indian context, and Indian cultural ethos are very strong. So we have got around 7 to 8% of the biodiversity of the world, whereas only 2.4% of the land area. So that's why our culture is very strong, and particularly in Assam, because Assam people are always associated with some wildlife here and there. Even in Guwahati city, 250 species of birds are there, 40 wild mammals minimum. So these are in the cities, but unfortunately wildlife doesn't know that these are cities. They do not know, they know the habitat only, wherever is available. On a university campus, my Rothin, Vibhav, they have done a pratham, initially there is a booklet, there are 110, remember 110 birds in the university campus. They never came there for any PhD or MSc degree, they just came as a habitat. So this is how the whole Assam is a habitat of these animals. So you cannot, this is the only case where forest department and the NGOs and all the people must work together, because the setting is such. It is setting is such. There is no restricted area for protected area. Every animals are going out. Somewhere is there. Elephants are coming out, going there. Birds are coming out, and the culture is so strong. The migratory birds are not called Poribrami chorai only, but it is Alohi chorai. It is a guest birds. These are guests. So this is the culture we are harboring, apart from Shankardev sayings and other things. So I will just tell 4 or 5 points only. I will not go much. Now there are some issues which are coming up. Now grassland is an extremely important ecosystem. Around the 24% of the total Indian area has been grasslands. And grassland, you see, is so important that it has got a biodiversity in it. It maintains the water level, and specific birds are associated with only with the grasslands. It's not found anywhere else. And water recharging, water retention, these are hundreds of duties they are doing. But these grasslands are gradually going down, particularly in Manosh, when Vibhuti was telling that wet grasslands are going on, the dry grasslands are coming out. These are dangerous trend in habitats. So naturally the animals will not be comfortable, they will go out. Another point I wanted to mention about the soil condition of India in general. It has deteriorated like anything. Carbon content of the soil is extremely important. 26 million hectares of the Indian soil are degraded because the carbon is not there. So all these problems will come along with it, because soil is the foundation of all systems to work. Now, I wanted to tell you one thing, because you see, a soil, if it deteriorates, it has got an impact on the trees and plants, because some minerals will be not there. Some mineral will not be able to survive there if the soils are bad, even our organic carbon. So what happens if we put some cow dung somewhere near the plants? The plants cannot take cow dung directly. It increases microorganisms near the root systems of the plants. So each microorganism has got a capacity to take out one mineral, either zinc, potassium, etc., and push it to the trees, plants. So that's why nutrients are important. So we are already giving some extra nutrient, urea and other things, agriculture fields. But we have to be very careful. We have to allow the microorganism to grow. If you do not allow the microorganism are drying up, that means minerals are not entering. You will see plants are coming out. We will take the same plant, but we will not have not enough of nutrients, because the nutrients are, plants are there, nutrients are not there. Like there are so many people are there, they are deficient in some here. You go to doctor will give you supplement. So you see the fun. In our kitchen, supplements are entered into our kitchen also. Because trees are going to be weak. Doctor will give you supplement, you have to take supplement. Where is that will gone? But there are boys we know, young boys and girls, those who have got 14% hemoglobin. Where from the hemoglobin has come, where he is not serving anywhere. So hemoglobin is coming from nature. We may have enough of money in my pocket, but I cannot create hemoglobin through this money. So hemoglobin will go, biological systems are such, they will go in their own way. Whether you are rich or poor is irrelevant. So this is an extremely important issue. I have to monitor the soil condition of both in the protected area and non-protected. Even if the protected areas are not serving throughout India, and 30% efficiency are there in some. There are some reports are coming out. Very disturbing. With the protected area we have given, but protected area for what purpose? The trees will have to be there, they should function properly. The inter-root relationship should be very strong. But these are not functioning. There is a report which is coming about this. Now I wanted to mention also about the termites. The termites are very important. Remember, always talk about big elephants and other things. Termites are there, termite queen. It is like tiger. It is a top carnivore type. So it produces continuously young egg laying, and the young ones are coming out. These young ones, when they will have wings, they will go up and the birds will take. So there they get the protein out of this. So nobody will supply protein to them, no. There is no scheme for government of India to give protein to the birds. Government is a scheme for protection. So that's why protein supply systems are there. Termite has got it. That's why termite queens are almost tell that equivalent to tiger, keystone species type of thing. So these are the reports are coming out. Research are going on anyway. And another one is the pollinators. So we are not taking care of the pollinators. Now last one or 2 points. The government of Assam has taken out a project like the heritage plants. 50 years, a plant which is 50 years old, it has become heritage. So if forest department has taken out a scheme 100 years or so. So I have got a, Supreme Court has given a 1921, he made a committee to estimate the value of a tree after 50 years. So it is found at more than 7 lakhs or so. So there is a tree in Assam, in Lakhimpur area, which is 450 years old. So what is the value of that tree now? You can imagine the value of a heritage trees. So you cannot go on cutting down the trees because they have already starved. So these type of trees will have to be there. And along with that trees, this area is the area of evolution. Primitive plants are there, like the whole Magnolia group. There are other groups. We have got collection on the list. Primitive groups are there. Evolution was going on here in northeastern region. So plants gives an indication. Plants are the foundation. So these primitive trees, the whole groups lists are there available with that. These are extremely important. These are also heritage trees. It's old trees, but given the indication that how the evolution has happened. And endemic plants. So these are the plants should also come under heritage trees. So this forest department doing an excellent job. We have, I mean, associate. I have sometimes to go and find out. They're finding out. This is a very good thing, and it should, everybody should support it. Another issue is coming out now is the antibiotic resistance. One peculiar seminar I attended in Assam University because I represented one organization. That's why I had to. I am not interested in antibiotic or whatever. But I found that the antibiotic resistance, we are giving antibiotic to everywhere. And the antibiotics which are not even expired, we throw them out. It goes to water. And it our body becomes resistant, including possibly fish and mollusca. So antibiotic resistance is coming out in wild animals also. Because this has been reported by North Bengal one professor and one of our scientists there in Kaziranga. I asked him what is the status. He said sensitivity assessor. What is sensitivity? Key sensitivity, antibiotic sensitive assessor. Then the antibiotics are entered into our body, it becomes resistant. We are also becoming victims. So we have to be very careful. So in Thailand they have got the wet box and dry box is there. Another is the antibiotic box. Excess antibiotic which is not there, you have to throw there. It will be destroyed. So that system will come. This is a wide one. Just last point I wanted to mention about the invasive species. We always say invasive species and we are dangerous and other things. There are some local invasive species who are normally replacing others or fighting with others. They are not harmful. So that study will have to be done. Because there are reports that invasive species should not be thrown out immediately because it has come from somewhere else. But like the Thai magur and other things, these are dangerous. These are alien and invasive species. But local invasive species are not that of danger. So I tell you, I will request all of you, the young, the nature is yours. Whether you physics, chemistry, mathematics, economics or whatever, you take oxygen. Oxygen is not meant for chemistry department professors. CO2, oxygen, O2 and CO2, these are everybody's property. So whether you are physics, chemistry and mathematics, you have to take the help of nature. You are always taking the help of nature. You can well imagine during COVID time, what is the case of oxygen. Oxygen cylinder 1 lakh rupees. So that will be the cost of oxygen which are getting free. So this ecosystem services quantification is very important. I got one lady today, economics professor, here she showed. So economics department will have to come out to quantification of the ecosystem services. That should go to the GDP. Like in other countries, American countries, South American countries, they are doing that, Guatemala and others. So ecosystem services which we get from Kaziranga, from nearby forest, that will have to be calculated. So that will give an idea what is this. So thank you very much for inviting me. I in presence of Professor Rangit Singh, I was very fortunate person. I met this Selim Ali also, We had a discussion also. So Ranjit Singh ji also very famous person, and he is well travelled and others. So we are very fortunate to meet him there, here. So I declare this workshop open and wish that it will be very successful. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your very interesting, thought-provoking and highly energetic lecture on different species, soil condition and grasslands. We hope we'll be greatly enriched by your words. Now I take the honor to introduce our keynote speaker, Dr. M.K. Ranjit Singh. Born on February 19, 1939, Dr. M.K. Ranjit Singh is an author and authority on wildlife and nature conservation from India. Dr. Ranjit Singh belongs to the royal family of Wakaner. He joined the IAS in 1961, and after serving a few years at Madhya Pradesh, he joined as a deputy secretary in the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, dealing with farm mechanization. Later in the year 1971, he joined as the first deputy secretary looking after both forests and wildlife. As collector of Manla, Madhya Pradesh, he helped save the central Indian Barasingha from extinction. As Secretary, Forest and Tourism in Madhya Pradesh, he established 14 new sanctuaries, 8 new national parks, and more than double the area of 3 existing national parks, a total addition of over 9,000 square kilometers to the protected areas of the nation. He was a prime architect of the Wildlife Protection Act 1972, was Director of Wildlife Preservation twice, and Additional Secretary in the Ministry of Environment and Forest. He was Member Secretary of the task force which initiated Project Tiger, and he also initiated Project Snow Leopard. His contribution towards forest and environment conservation and his association with various organizations is immense. Because of his contribution, he was awarded Lifetime Achievement Award in 2014. Dear sir, we are highly grateful for your immense contributions. Now we would like you to enlighten us with your valuable keynote address. Kindly grace the podium, sir.
My esteemed colleague on the dais and on the floor, and most of all, the students of this college. It would be an understatement to say that I am deeply grateful for this opportunity to be invited here to speak with you, and I do not want to lecture you, but to share some thoughts with you. And at the end of this, I try to leave some time. If there are any topics that you wish to, being a keynote address, this cannot be a question, but if there are any subject areas that you feel I should talk about, I would request you to do so at the end of this talk. As I said, I am very, very deeply grateful for this opportunity, particularly in Assam, because Northeast has always been a very special area for India and for me, for its rich biodiversity, its traditions, and the fact that I have the opportunity of speaking to the ladies and these girl students here. I am a great believer of Nari Shakti, and I have lifetime's experience and can vouchsafe to say that nature created a woman a better perfect human being than the male, because the species has to be generated and the women do a far greater job and a more important job than the men do. Oh, the males do, sorry. One. Secondly, the women are far more committed to a cause than the men can. they get inspiration, they get conviction, and unlike the males, they do not get bullied by the politicians and bosses. They can stand up and say, ye nahi hoga. And that's what you need. And I don't say this because both my children are daughters and my 3 out of 4 grandchildren are girls. But I believe in this. Luckily, there are more ladies coming in now than there were in my time. And the fact that I am filing cases against the government, sad, to say whatever I hope I can or we can of nature's bounty to this country, and I'll come to that. The most ardent supporters in my PILs are again women officers. Kaziranga is the jewel in the crown of Assam, and it is no accident that a lady, Sonali Ghosh, is heading in it, not a man. Now, that apart, let me say this, that there is a misunderstanding about wildlife. What does wildlife mean? To me, wildlife is nature. In the definition of the Wildlife Protection Act, it's not just the animals or the birds. It's a composite whole of the ecosystems of which those animals and birds are a part of. Please remember this, and we are losing sight of this a lot, that the habitat is more important than the animals and the birds that stand on it. You can have the habitat without the animals and the birds. You cannot have a wild animal or a bird without the habitat. A lot of it was talked about now by one of my predecessors about the slaughter which took place in princely India and the British. And I'll add more. He mentioned about the 1000th. Incidentally, Ramanath Prasad Singh, they've stopped writing his Shikar diary after it shot 1200, but he shot something near 1600. In my first book, on the chapter on the tiger, I made some research that 3 princely families in 3 neighboring districts of Madhya Pradesh, now 6, but 3 in these days, in 35 years shot 3,500 tigers, but after that Holocaust there were more tigers then surviving than now after Project Tiger. Why? Because the habitat was safe, because the prey base was safeguarded, and the tiger has the propensity, and the other animals have it. 86% during my second tenure I took, 86% of our parks and sanctuaries in the 80s when I was director for the second time, wildlife, were the hunting reserves of the Maharajas and of the British. I'm not saying this because I want to have a brief for them, but to show the fact that hunters are predators, and I don't, as I said, I don't hold a brief, and no predator drives its prey to extinction. The people can. No one family can. The people can. And, of course, the government can. And that's another story. But what can you do to change that? And what is the ethos of India and the contribution that you can make? I'll just try to briefly touch upon the subject. Firstly, and the diversity, you see, I mentioned about what does wildlife mean in the in the context of not only the act, but as a flagship or as a banner in conservation. There is a saying in Gujarati that lakh marjo por lakh na taran har na marjo, let a lakh die, but let not the savior of the lakh die. It's the habitat, I again mention. The animals come back if you save the habitat. But for that you have to know how to manage that habitat. And overgrazing and burning is not the best tool. As was said by M.D. Chaturvedi, the first Indian forest officer, IG Forest, the fire is a wonderful servant but a terrible master. It has become our master. We do not know about fire ecology, and the zoom cultivation is one part of it, but indiscriminate burning which takes place to show wildlife is also another factor for the decimation of the grasslands, and grassland importance was mentioned by my predecessor. The most productive ecosystem in the whole world are the grasslands and the grassland forest mosaics. Life evolved on grasslands. Man evolved on the grasslands of South Africa. The lion, the leopard, the cheetah all evolved because they had the greatest carrying capacity, per capita carrying capacity of biomass, living biomass, and the greatest biomass production takes place on grassland. In India too. In terrestrial ecosystems, it's the grassland which is thing, and it is the most neglected grassland the ecosystems of the whole country. We have the largest cattle population in the whole world. All of them free grazing, all of them surviving on grasslands. Overuse, abuse, and encroachment. We do not know how to manage the grasslands. Our teachers were the Germans. The British got the Germans because the Germans were the greatest foresters, Brandis, Ribbentrop, and the others. They taught us how to manage trees. They didn't teach us how to teach, and we never learned, I'm sorry to say. I'm a great friend of the forest department, but we do not know the grasses. And unless you see, that is the grassroots level. The saving of the rhino, the saving of the elephant, the saving of the tiger begins with the grassroots, literally and metaphorically. And we do not know. I told George Schaller that he once joked that there are more tiger experts in India than there are tigers, which is true. He said it as a joke. And I still joke because we do not know how to manage the tigers. Putting a collar around a tiger's neck is not enough. And knowing what its ecology is. It starts from the grassland. When I started service, my teacher, economic teacher, told me that if we can produce 100 million tons of grain, we will be self-sufficient. The cartoon of India at that time, Lakshman, said the wheat growing areas of India are Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, and the United States of America. The wheat came from America. Today we are self-sufficient in wheat. We are self-sufficient in grain, despite the fact that the population has grown 3 times. The green revolution. But we still do not know how to increase the productivity of even our tiger area. We do not know how to manage the grasslands to increase the prey base. You know what the tiger wants. What have you done to increase the population of the hogara, the hog deer, and of the doll horin, and of the rest? You have the grasslands, which was mentioned, come in different categories. The the short grassland, the medium grassland, the high grassland, they all have eco. The grassland species of the world and of India evolved on the grassland. And unlike the others, like the Sambar, who have the diversity and have survived, the poor Barasinga and the hog deer and the Sangai, the Manipur brown-antlered deer, became grassland specific. They cannot go elsewhere. They took advantage of that niche and they grew to great proportion, but when that niche itself is deteriorated and finished, they are finished because they are too specific. In the Wildlife Protection Act in 1972, when I drafted it, the largest number of species, Schedule 1 species, and today the most critically of those Schedule 1 species are grassland specific species. Both birds, whether it is the florican or the bustard, or the animals, the Manipur deer and the others. Sorry. So, this is something, and this is particularly important for Assam and the northeast, all along the Brahmaputra. I'm sorry. But to come back to the matter of India is a paradox. The highest concentration of human beings in this kind of situation. China has a bigger population, but look at the land mass of China. And we are growing very fast, and why not? It has a number of implications. Now, one is that, and I've written this in my book, India is one of the easiest countries in the world to protect nature. Unlike Africa, where everyone is a meat eater, here we are vegetarians. We have an empathy for nature. Some of the animals are sacred to us, and that's why they survive, whether it's the peacock or the nilgai. Some of the areas are sacred, the sacred groves, the orans of the Vishnus, and there are so many. We have the people's feeling on our side. Life is sacrosanct. It is not so in Europe and Africa or in Latin America. Here life is sacrosanct. But we are what I call household conservationists. We keep our houses very clean, absolutely spotless. We throw the dust right outside our house. We don't go even to the dustbin. I'm sorry. We do not kill, but we will not intervene when somebody else does the damage. We do not have a green movement. Politics is all about votes in the next election, and we are a democracy and a vibrant one, and thank God for that. No one will take notice of your environment till the people wake up, till the media goes on to that side, till the women of India rise and say, ye nahi hona, ye galat hai. Unless the people voice their concern for the environment is a non-vote getter, and therefore will not be taken into account. So there has to be a mass understanding, a mass conviction, and every individual counts. I am a believer that one person can matter. There is always this feeling, क्या करे सरकार कैसे करते? अरे भैया, you can stand up and be counted if you believe in something. And in this country, you will have an echo because there is this empathy for nature. and each one of you can. I can give you any number of examples. The white rhino, the largest of the 5 species of rhino, survives because of one man, Ian Player, South Africa. And there are other examples I could. The Hawaiian goose would have gone extinct had it not been for Peter Scott. I could go on. And if you can sell the idea to the people, when I went to Kaibul Lamjao in 1975, I'd gone earlier, and I thought there were 100 odd left, because that was old Latin. Then I went on a helicopter over Kaibul Lamjao, because that helicopter was available, and I found only 14 animals left. That was the total world population of the Sangai, the Manipur brown-antlered deer. I counted every stag, hind and fawn, 14. The rarest taxa in the whole world, the northern white rhinoceros of Uganda and Congo had been extinct by that time in the wild. The rarest animal in the world. That night I couldn't sleep. Next morning I went. 6.5 square kilometers territory left. 6.5. This was before the Thai dam came up. And I went and told the people in the village, please don't graze your cattle here. This is the only place in the world for your Sangai. And the reply was, the people, this is the only place in the world for our cattle to graze. What reply do I give to that? Anyway, I came back, I spoke to Madam Gandhi, and she spoke to the chief minister. This is how it works in India, if political interest is there. And Kaibul Lamjao became a national park. And Manipur Sangai became the state animal. In my second tenure, 9 years later, I went back again. And I stayed in Churachandpur. And that night, people came, boys and others, and said, sir, we know what you've done for the Sangai, but please be very careful, please don't go low, sir, they'll think that. हमने कहा यार इतना इंटरेस्ट कैसे हो गया? So I asked, how many? They said there are 100 organizations for the Sangai. And I asked the ranger, an old friend, Sarma, he is the dead poor man, I said, there is insurgency going on. How are they cooperating with you and the saving of the Sangha? He said, they are great help. I said, how? He said, 2 months ago, I shouldn't be talking like this. Somebody brought in a hog deer and left it and said, what is this? Is it a Sangai? I said, no, this is a hog deer, Subra. Are you sure? He said, yes. 2 hours later, they brought 2 people with broken legs. He said, these are the 2 people who killed that thing. If you had said they had killed a Sangai, we would have brought their dead bodies. That was the commitment. Today, the biggest festival in Imphal is the Sangai festival. The most popular English newspaper is the Sangai Times. All the hotels and all that are Sangai Hotel and Sangai Taxi Stand. Sangai has become an icon. The people have adopted it. That is the difference. On the other hand, the poor other Barasinga, grassland specific, in Ladakh, in Kashmir, the hungr, state animal again, is just a piece of succulent meat on hoof. They are still shot and killed. That's the difference. That's where the people come in. That's where all of you come in. Now, let me say this. Do I have time? Anyway, I'll try to finish quickly. I have not gone into the history of a thing, but I'll do so very quickly. The heritage of India is extremely important. And we have so many heritages. The heritage of culture, religion, art, architecture, music. What about the national natural heritage? All those are man-made heritage. This is God-made heritage. The man-made heritages, God forbid, we can recreate. I don't want to create things. The Ram Mandir was rebuilt. Can you rebuild Kaziranga? Can you rebuild the Dibru Saikhoa, which is gone? Aren't they temples of God? Isn't nature also a living God? I have worshipped nature and it has changed my life. But they are as much important. What is Hanuman say? That I see Ram in every living thing. So when they say, somebody asks me, are you a Sanatani or what? I said, I'm a Ram Bhakt. I see Ram in every Chital and every Barasinga. And I see Hanuman in every tree. Am I not entitled to that? Are they not temples of God? Do you have to ruin them forever? Do you have to encroach on them? That is what they are. They are, and that is your heritage. Apart from that, they are the givers of water. The greatest contribution is potable water. There was, when the Tiger project started, I went to Palamau. And Palamau is in now Jharkhand, at that time Bihar. And Palamau is a rain shadow area, always has famine. And there was a very intrepid DFO there. I wish we had done it elsewhere. When I went there, I asked the local people कि क्या है, तो मेरे कहे कि हम तो भूखन मर रहे हो, तुम साले बाघ पाल रहे हो. We are starving and you are trying to save tigers. That was the thing. But in that DFO took the water levels and he divided the streams. And before I forget, from our parks, and I'm talking about the time when I was director, 486 perennial streams come from our national parks and sanctuaries. They gave the most important commodity in nature after oxygen, potable water. Now, coming to this one, and this is what national parks and sanctuaries are, not just the harbingers of and the safeguardings of lions and tigers and leopards. They are, so this particular DFO divided into 4 categories. Those streams that stop flowing at the end of monsoon, which is now, end of September, those that stop flowing at the end of October, and those that stop flowing at the end of March, and those that were perennial. In 3 years after the stopping of grazing and burning and exploitation, the streams which were operating till September started operating till the end of December. December 1 started operating till the March, and the March ones became perennial. If that was the gift that Palama was giving to the people of India, the North Coel and the South Coel, two rivers, it was more important than the 8 tigers that that national park and tiger reserve held, and I love tigers. That was more important. That is the importance of these things. And we are vandalizing them. We are vandalizing our ecological security, and we are tampering with our national natural heritage. I am not even talking about living gods. Now, the other thing about you here is, we have, and I mustn't take too much time, we suffer from what I call a disease. We suffer from a slight blindness. I'm sorry. I call it MMM. Mega mammal myopia. You know what myopia is? Short-sightedness. We don't go to see a national park. We do not go to have communion with nature. Though we worship nature, Aranya. It's a part of our culture, of our milieu. We go to what I say at ogle at tigers. We go to see a tiger. We go to see a lion. We go to see a rhinoceros. We do not go to have communion with nature, to savor a park. They all go to see a tiger. Tigers are wonderful, lions are marvelous, elephants, everything else is. But in the case of management, if a mother has 5 children, does he only look after the best and the handsomest son and the best looking daughter, or the one which needs the support most, who's sick and dying? Who is a good mother? I mean, it's shocking. I was once interviewing, and he came from Assam, and I won't take his name. And I said, I think incidentally, in starting Project Tiger, we did not select. I was, remember, Secretary Dr. Karan Singh, and then Kailash Sankla took over from me when he could come. We did not select Kaziranga. Kaziranga was already well looked after. There were more tigers in Kaziranga. We selected Manas. Manas at that time had 26 Schedule 1 species under the Act. It was a question of upgrading. And Manas succeeded before, you know what happened, both those. I won't go into all that. But it was Manas which we selected because it had more endangered species, and because it was what I call level 2. The idea was to use a park to raise it, or tiger reserve, from level 2 to level 1. Kaziranga was already level 1, and Kaziranga has a great thing which I call the Kaziranga culture. You shoot poachers, thank you, and God bless you for that. I wish that would happen elsewhere. I'm sorry if I have to say this. Yeah, there is this Kaziranga culture, and I've used that culture even elsewhere, but I won't talk about it. Now, so Kaziranga was well looked after. Why should we go there? Go to Orang, go to some other place. Now, by that token, when I started asking that man, he said, are you talking about, I said, how many doll horeno you have, how many you have, how many hog deer? What is happening in Barnadi? Are there any hispida? His jaw dropped. But sir, this is a tiger reserve. I said, what? You are only supposed to reserve to protect tigers. You see, this is it. Only tigers matter. And the man and that tiger lobby, I'm sorry I have to say this, which says that if you save tigers, you saved everything, is a canard. It's a lie. It's anti-conservation. We do not know how much we have, and therefore we cannot appreciate this. And I'll just take a little time. I've just written a book on the mountain mammals, and I said this thing. Asia has 86 taxa. I've dealt with 119 there of the world. 86 in Asia. 4 in entire Africa. 4 only, mountain mammals. 2 in the entire Andes, the longest mountain chain of the world. 2 only, the true mountain mammals of a large size. I've only dealt with of 20 kilos and over, not the small ones. In the two species in the whole of South Africa, South America, 4 in the whole of Africa. I have seen 6 in one day of 14 hours of walking and riding in one nala of Ladakh. And there were 2 I never saw. I never saw the snow leopard, I never saw the lynx. 8 species of mountain mammals in one nala of Ladakh. And our people don't even know about this. If they don't know about this, how can they appreciate it? How can they safeguard it? We only know the snow leopard. That is what I call mega mammal myopia. Short-sightedness, blindness. Therefore, tomorrow when I sing, I'm not going to ask how many tigers you have or how many elephants you have or thing. I'll come to the elephant. How many rhinos you have. We know that and you look after them. I want to know how many clouded leopard you have, how many doll-horn, how many white-winged wood duck, how many ullumora. That is what. That is where, as Gandhiji said, when you take a decision, you always see how it affects the poorest of the poor, the voiceless, the animals and the thing. But when in a park you take what needs the most help, which is on the species, not the ones which are good looking, that you look after in any case. It will be a part of, but if you look at the grassroots, really, you look at everything else. So, having said that, I'll just take 1 minute about the thing, and I did mention, oh boy, about the history of this great state. It all again started from one person again. You see, this is the problem. The conservation in India, as I said, is a paradox. It comes from the top. Lord Curzon's wife came to live with a tea planter here and went around Kaziranga. This was not Kaziranga, it became a game reserve later on, and reported only 8 rhinos left. There were more than 8. And he took action and said these must be protected. Curzon went to shoot a lion. Every viceroy used to shoot a tiger or a big tiger or a record tiger because that's what the princes used to offer them. And he went to Junagadh to shoot a lion. And the Nawab of Junagadh said, there are only 20 lions left. There had been a famine and they are done. There were more than 20, but they wanted to show off, to say how rare the animal was and what a gift he was giving to the Viceroy of India. Lord Curzon refused to shoot a lion, went back and wrote to the Nawab, please protect these lions. And the protection of lion and the saving of lion starts from that. It came from the top. Now it has to come from below. And we have the material to start from below. So, that is how it started here. And then, I will not go into the details, there is no time. But the important, what you have here is unparalleled. And it's not just it's whether you have 2 species of pythons, the Indian and the Burmese reticulated. You have the white-winged wood duck, you have the adjutant stork. You have the only surviving population of the greater whistling teal in Sibsagar and elsewhere. Have you even seen one? Don't they matter? Aren't they citizens of India? Are tigers the only important thing? I love the tiger. I love the elephant. And we are talking about elephants. I would also like to know this, that the elephant has a distribution from Uttar Pradesh all the way across to China, into Indonesia and elsewhere. The largest Asiatic elephant in the world came from Darang and Kamrup. If you look at the records of big game, Roland Wall, 8 out of those 10 largest tuskers of the Asiatic elephant came from 2 districts of Assam. And the record, 154 pounds, 11 feet long, was shot in Darang, presented to Victoria, and lies in the museum. As Director of Wildlife, I tried my best to get that power back. He said, nahi denge. But there you are. And now, now you have tuskless elephants, maknas. And maknas will breed maknas. You will have a situation like you have in Sri Lanka, where 8 or 9 out of the bulls are maknas, tuskless bulls. If you are satisfied with that, fine, I'm not. This is it. We have to, and why? Because of man's greed. Luckily, unlike Africa, but we do not eat elephant meat, except in 1 or 2 Nagaland, where they do. In Africa they eat meat, this thing. So females are killed too. Luckily in India females do not cow elephants don't carry ivory. So only the bulls are killed. But look what is happening. The percentage of maknas is increasing. Should that not be a cause of worry? Do only the numbers matter? All this is important. All this is a part of your national heritage. I think I've taken too long and I won't proceed. If there is anything that that you want me to speak about, I will just take 5 minutes and answer. If there is anything, otherwise I've said enough, I think. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your very sensitive, thought-provoking lecture on, protecting the grasslands, then, on natural heritage, then believing in the power of women in the conservation process. Thank you so much. Now there's an announcement. We will move for a short tea break and come to the come for the next session after 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Thank you so much.